Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with HeisHockey.com, the victorious hockey company, and the crazy, eclectic, unusual junior hockey discussion group on Facebook. You are watching the Junior Hockey Morning Show. We are live on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, more. Hope you're enjoying your fine Tuesday morning, May 23rd, 2023. We have my good friend, and well, we should just go ahead and call him a part-time, almost full-time co-host, Eric Ballard from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Good morning, Eric. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good, buddy. Good to see you again.
So when we last talked about predictions, you and I went head-to-head during World Juniors. I think we called, it had to be 20 games, maybe more.
All of that, yeah.
It had to be, we end up dead even somehow. We're going to break that tie today. And, that's just the way it's going to go. And then one of us is going to have to deal with the other one having bragging rights for the entire offseason. That's not good because Eric will take advantage of me at every opportunity he possibly can to rub it in. And that's all right. Today, we're going to talk about the North American Hockey League's Robertson Cup, if you don't already figure that one out. And the Austin Bruins, Oklahoma Warriors, 2022-23 North American Hockey League season officially ends tonight with the Robertson Cup Championship game taking place in Blaine, Minnesota, not too far from where Eric grew up. How is Blaine, Eric? That facility is certainly one of the best in all of hockey.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, the Blaine area is great. I mean, Swan Super Rink is awesome. I had a little frog in my throat. But they're playing at Fogarty, which is a 2-sheet facility. Just literally almost right across the road off Highway 65 there. Great facility. Blaine High School plays there. I think the USPHL team, the Moose, play there as well. Joe Dibble's group. But, no, it's a great facility. It's a great spot, centrally located, easy to get in and out of as far as Minneapolis Airport's just an hour and a half, hour and 45. And that area has grown quite a bit since I was a kid. But I'm a little bummed out. I'd like the Robbie to move around. I'd like the Robbie to be in places where, I know it's tough to get to, but Fairbanks hosted one year and Mason City hosted one year. And I think you kind of lose a little bit of that luster for, a lot of the junior hockey. But, the North American Hockey League chose to do that, make it a little easier. But great facility nonetheless.
Tomorrow night, the league will have crowned a new champion while both buses journey back to Austin and Oklahoma City. Regardless of the outcome, the losers are in for a long drive home. The reality of life in the NHL is that the time for hockey never really ends. Eric, after the season's over, these guys are already, probably 4 to 5 weeks behind in the process for building for next year behind the guys who didn't make the playoffs. And that's got to be hard to make that time up, isn't it?
I think, I don't know if it's hard to make time. I think they have to prepare for that. So I think a lot of these guys have scouts and director of player personnel type, bird dogs out there. But by the looks of it, it looks like Oklahoma's got, quite a few 20-year-olds. And Austin doesn't have that many. So, but I think it's what's really tough. It's no different than the National Hockey League. You watch the NHL, Tampa Bay Lightning, they went deep in, 3 years, the Stanley Cup playoffs with 2 cups. You just don't get that time to recover. And these kids are going to finish tonight. It's almost June, and they're going to have to report back, more than likely mid-August or, in that area. They don't have a lot of downtime to, recover and get their bodies back in shape, get their brains back in, in an area where they're excited about hockey again without being just right on top of each other.
The North American Hockey League draft is just 22 days away. Austin has 5 H-outs. Oklahoma City has 10. Those are the players we know are not going to come back next year. But what about the guys we don't know who are leaving? Let's be honest. Going from a full-size arena to a rec rink may have consequences. Some guys aren't happy with the playing time they have, and we have a 3,000-pound elephant in the room called the British Columbia Hockey League, and they're watching these games as closely as we are. There will be players taking advantage of the BCHL opportunity. We just don't know how many. Eric?
Yeah, I think that was the toughest thing coaching in the North American League. You just didn't know what was going to happen in the offseason. USHL would draft a few of your players. BC, Alberta, they're just some of the teams maybe had a better recruiting process to tell you what they could provide. I remember my first year in the North American League, we signed a player out of the North American, the NAPL. And after 1 year, he decided to go play in the BCHL. And it was, you run into it. I think it just comes with the territory. I think there's options for these players all the time. No different than the NCAA collegiate portal, right? You're not happy with playing time, you go in the portal. Same thing here. You're not happy with playing time, or maybe where you're living, or maybe not getting the college exposure you think you need or you deserve. Maybe you go somewhere else. So it happens at every level, and I think those two coaches and those two staffs are more than prepared for it.
Absolutely. I will start to get into our prediction section. Dun, dun, dun. Play the music, Tommy. No, not really. Okay. All right. The numbers say that no matter what happens tonight, the Austin Bruins are more likely to return to the dance for next year with all those players still maintaining eligibility. Does that mean the Warriors are going to take this year's cup? Not so fast. It's often said that defense wins championships. But when it comes to hockey, the big D starts with the man between the pipes. Eric, how important is goaltending tonight?
Oh, I think it's an entire series. It's everything. And, both goalies got great numbers. But you're right. Nothing screws up a better game plan than a hot goalie. So whoever comes in hot, did you watch the Panthers game last night or the last 3 games? Sergei Bobrovsky is literally the difference in that series. So I think goaltending is a big key for both Austin and Oklahoma.
So Daniel Duras is the goaltender for Oklahoma. 2003 birthday from Slovakia. He's 6-0-0 in the playoffs so far. .959 save percentage. He's been a tremendous factor for the Warriors. The one game that stands out is when he broke Shreveport's heart in Shreveport, stopping 44-45 back on May 12th. That's 11 days ago. What's going to happen tonight? Meanwhile, Austin's Trent Weichman, 2004 goalie from Fargo, North Dakota. He's not had the same run, 8-1-0-1 in the playoffs, but he's a special kind of player. And, we talked about him last week where he hasn't gotten the recognition. He came out of Fargo. He was an outstanding goalie in high school, but just for some reason or the other didn't get attention from North American Hockey League teams or USHL teams. Austin got him on a flyer. But of these two goalies, I like this kid more because he's got that grit and he has that attitude that he has to prove something, that nothing's for free, and he knows it. Eric?
Yeah, I think, there's no question that just actually was in Fargo. It just came back Sunday. There's a lot of good hockey players in those high school circuits back there. And they both got great numbers. Unless you've been watching closely, you're going to flip a coin. There's no question. But, Trent Weimkin, he's got great numbers. The Slovaks got great numbers. I think goaltending is going to be a big key. You're not going to see a track meet tonight. I think you're going to see a very low scoring game, maybe even an overtime.
The question is, do the teams believe in their goaltenders? I believe that's the case. And that's the biggest question, is which team's going to come out ahead. And that's why I think Steve Howard and the Austin Bruins will be celebrating into the night tonight with the Robertson Cup.
It's a good pick. I think I don't want to break Howie's heart, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma. I think that they won the entire North American League Championship this year. They've been perfect in playoffs. Their goaltending is really solid. I think it's going to go back to the same reason why I think Quinnipiac won the NCAA Frozen Four is you're dealing with 10, 20 bomb year olds and versus 5. A little more depth on Oklahoma as far as the age. And the North American Hockey League is a great league. I mean, it's an older league, but it's a great league. So I think that age and that experience is probably going to help Oklahoma push over Austin tonight.
It's going to be a very entertaining game either way, I believe. I just don't see Oklahoma winning every game all the way into the final. If they do it, it's a hell of a run to go as a top seed in the league, go through the playoffs undefeated, and go through the Robertson Cup Final Four undefeated. That would be an epic accomplishment, and it's very rare. We haven't seen much of that from the North American Hockey League in the past. Aberdeen had a good run a couple of times a couple of years back, but I don't recall them winning every game all the way through. And I don't see that happening tonight. I think Austin is a little closer to home. They feel very comfortable in Minnesota. It doesn't feel like that much of a road trip. And they just have the blessing of this goalie doing the job for them and wanting to prove that they are capable of raising the cup. Regardless, both these teams are going to go into the offseason a little behind schedule. I know Steve Howard's been running around the country trying to look at players. His staff's running around the country. But, Eric, we both know staffs aren't responsible. It's the head coach that's got to see these kids and make those final decisions. And because if the poop hits the fan, it's not the player personnel guy that's going to get canned. It's going to be the head coach.
Yeah, you got to rely on your staff to get those players tendered, drafted, or in the building. And then when you hit main camp and you start your season, you got to ultimately determine whether or not those players fit what you want as a coach. So, like you said, Howie and Oklahoma, Garrett Roth and their group, they're juggling a lot right now, getting ready to win a Robbie and still trying to backfill for next year. But one of those coaching staffs or one of those head coaches might be getting a call to a different league at some point. Winning a Robbie. It catapulted Josh Hougy's career when he won a Robbie in Fairbanks. Now he's the head coach in Union College. So I think I don't know anybody wants to stay in one spot if you want to climb the ladder as a coach. So regardless, it's going to be a great game. I'm actually going to tune into this one tonight.
Well, we hope so. We have pride on the line. We could have put the coin either way. I think you could have made a case for Austin, like certainly could have made a case for the Dirty South and Oklahoma. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be a good hockey game. We're going to have a lot of fun. Sit back, enjoy the game, maybe have a few soft drinks of adult proportions. But until that, folks, we hope that you enjoy your morning coffee. Cheers. Salute me, amigos. All right. And have a great